What is the crocodile? It's in the crocodile. Okay. I'm gonna dissect that too. Okay, dissect it, because that's what we're here to dissect it. Okay. What is account? Accounting society. That was me or is that what it is? That was it. Yeah, okay. What is the character?
There's a lot of Moors. Waiting for little sis to come out to watch the washroom. Or waiting for Omar to get back. Hey, thanks for calling back, Omar. Yeah, I think so. I don't want to miss it.
Is the camera rolling?
Alright, we'll try. Yeah, it's rolling.
No, I'm not even.
You just hold it on that page because we got to read something else from right now. No, you can take it.
Hold on the page.
There's a lot more. Just rise and do honor. Face the east, 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. His holy prophet. Noble Jawali. Islam. Peace, Moors. We're gonna start with our readings to be read every meeting that we'll put out again. Thank you to Adept Elder Moors for bringing these letters back to the surface so that we can be clear about what was going around, what the atmosphere was around the time of the prophet before he left the scene. These readings were published in 1929, which was the year that Noble Drew Ali transitioned. So there's you can hear the plea that he's making in these writings to the Moorish Americans so that they can be away from the confusion which is prevalent today with regard to Moors. Right? You bring up African, nobody asks questions. You bring up Black history, nobody asks questions. You bring up Dogon said something, Timbuktu, Carthage, ancient Kemet. Bring up all these stuff, nobody asks. As soon as you bring up Moors, everybody, they don't want to be Muslim, they don't want this, they don't want that, do they have to wear fez, how do they do this, how do they do that? All this confusion is because of not casting out the dead carcasses. All this confusion is from Noble Drew Ali letting Moors know who the dead carcasses are, and people continuing to side with the dead carcass, and then get mad when vultures start plucking at them. Right? So the readings are a lesson for Moors who are in the right frame of mind, who are coming into the right frame of mind, and want clarity with regard to what this is. Right? That's why we tell Moors, don't listen to Kudro, don't listen to Taj, don't listen to Raz, don't listen to nature, don't listen to Alim, don't listen to whoever is saying that they're Moors and they're whatever. Go check what the Prophet said and parallel that with what people are teaching. And it should be, everything should match up. Whatever somebody's teaching should be right in line with what Noble Drew Ali laid down. If it's not in line with what Noble Drew Ali laid down, know automatically that the individual who is creating this confusion, that's their job. So no need to try to convince them to do good stuff. No need to try to convince them, oh yeah, you know what, why don't you start doing what the Prophet said and all that other stuff. But that's not their job. Their job is to cause confusion. Their job is to make people not want to be down with this. Make people find every reason to say, you know what, I'm going to think about this more thing a little bit more, whatever. When this is their redemption, they should be jumping on this, just like they hear about Black Friday half price. They should be jumping on Moorish, whatever, when Moors talk. Same way. The same zeal that they get, the same energy that they get when they hear they're going to get free stuff. Just go over here, just show this thing, and they give you free stuff, and everybody lining up at the door around the corner. That's how they should be when they find out about Moors or Moorish history or anything relative to Moors, anything relative to Noble Drew Ali, anything relative to Aboriginal and Indigenous culture. So the first reading, a warning from the Prophet to be read every meeting, that prior to maybe 10 years ago, these red writings weren't in the public. They were taken out of public view so that the people can't know what Noble Drew Ali said. It was Kavit and Thor. A warning from the Prophet. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speeches while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my laws will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For it is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet is sending out a plea, a divine plea, to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. So Noble Drew Ali put this writing out and he addressed it to true Moors true Moorish Americans. Well, this is who he was addressing. He was addressing the true ones. If there's true ones, then there must be false ones. So the false Moors and the false Moorish Americans are the ones who aren't putting out letters to be read every meeting. Every meeting they're talking about read all other stuff, but they're not reading these letters. that Noble Drew Ali told the Moors read every meeting. So that means that these false people, false Moors, and false Moorish Americans are violating the Prophet's instructions just by not reading this meeting. We're not even talking about advanced things yet. We're just talking about the meeting that Noble Drew Ali wrote, gave it to the Moors, said, here, read this to all the Moors every meeting. That wasn't done. And now we're finding out about this letter. We're reading it now and realizing that there was a sellout going on. Realizing that people wanted to get Noble Drew Ali out the way, or he wouldn't have addressed them. And being that they're false and they're violating, that's Kavit Emtor. Cast out the dead carcass. Not even nothing to even consider. They're violating the Prophet by not reading the letter that was supposed to be read every meeting since 1929. It's 2015 right now. We're just finding out about the letter. So they've been violating stuff for 101 years, and people still want to play friends with these people?
How do you spell that?
CAVEATEMPTOR. The second reading to be read every meeting. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors. Alright, so another branch of Moors he's talking to. This is the other letter now. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. You know, the theme, the common theme that Noble Drew Ali is dealing with, truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and the uplifting fund. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling on all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the last few years. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali addressed faithful Moors, true Moorish Americans, and warned them to watch out for these frauds, these individuals that were coming into the movement and jealous of his fame and nobility, that they were out to try to take over the stuff. Right? He let them know. Openly, he let them know. Right? So what we have to do, what we have to do is we have to be very clear where we get our information from. That's why we only give out specific people to go study from. Because, like we say, the jurisdiction of Canaanland is special. The reason why the jurisdiction of Canaanland is special is because we haven't had the opportunity to be tainted. We haven't had the opportunity to have dirty Moors, trying to take stuff over and claiming that they have authority and whatever, because there's no dirty Moors in Canaanland that are in the seats of power. There's no Moors in Canaan land that are dirty, that hang around us. Right? It's alright. Right? There's none whatsoever. All the dirty Moors out here, they don't want nothing to do with us. They take the position of leave. Right? Because our position isn't accolades. Our position isn't props. We'll do this and get some props. Do this, have people send in, finance all over the place so we can say, yeah, we're getting people's fiat or whatever. Right? Our thing is get information out to the people, especially in this jurisdiction, because we know that this is a first for here. This is not something that has been here before. Peace and love, family. All right. Right? This is not something that's been here. This is something new here. Right? One of the biggest issues that Moors have is not recognizing that there really was a sellout for real, for real. People think anybody with a fez on, they're Moors, so, listen to them. But there was a sellout in this. There were people who took the position of siding with Rome to make sure that you don't know about your birthright. And now that communications amongst people are increased with social media, so is the abuse people are getting from their own. Because again, people don't think before they do stuff. People don't consider the guy on the other end of the phone, screen, whatever, could be some weirdo. They think you got fez on, so he's legit, you got fez on. Or he has L on his name, so he's legit. We're gonna go with him. When it's not really like that, because there's been a sellout. That's why you don't hear anybody talk about Moors. Because if people start talking about Moors, they're gonna have to put the gun in their own mouth and pull the trigger. Because they've been lying to people, telling them they're Asiatics and they're black people and they're all these other things that they're not. This is why we present King Alfred Plan to Moors. So Moors could see that all these so-called black organizations been sold out since the 60s. But remember that the Moor Science Temple of America was also infiltrated, but that's not in King Alfred Plan. Why? How come? How come they don't have the Moors listed in King Alfred Plan? With all the list of all the black organizations. Why? Because one, we're not black, so we don't qualify for that. And two, if they do put Moors in there, now everybody's going to know about the Moors, which they can't have happen. They can't have people knowing about this. So instead of the European putting on clan outfits or whatever, chasing people around the place, they figure, how about we substitute clan wear for Moorish stuff and fezzes, put those on some individuals who look like these people and make them sell out their own people. And that's the game that's been running. And then all these so-called black whoever like that, they're talking about the white man did something, devil did something, all these fictions, when it's really them, their own. Under the guise of, teach you something in the chematology or whatever like that, when they're not talking nationality. So when we seek information, right now, what's going on? Now, Brother Seth and Rock came up here for Juali Day, and we were talking. This is in the Juali Day 2 lecture that's online. We were talking about Moors going at master teacher Taj Tariq Bey that, oh yeah, he's fraud. You know what I mean? And other people are legitimate, right? One of the individuals that came up is this guy, Nanya Shabuel, who's been dealing with stuff, right? We've been dealing with these guys are a fraud. And every 2 years or something like that, they pop up again. They disappear, then they pop up again. They disappear, then they pop up again. Why do these people keep popping up for? Because nobody's not casting out the dead carcass. Everybody wants to hug up the carcass. Everybody wants to play friends with more or unity with Moors when Moors are dirty. Now, this individual is making claims. This individual is making claims that his free national name is this. This is his free national name. Pronounce that. Huh? Eel, right? Eel? Okay. Eel. No, that's all we got. I found a thicker one, if anything, but I found a black one that works. That better? Yeah. Right? So he's saying, and we already say that that's pronounced eel. Alright. What's an eel? Kind of fish. A snake-like fish. Right? Is this now we're not talking about when we talk about snake-like fish, right? Get out of your head all the stuff about nagas and serpents on the crown of Kemet and all that stuff. We're not talking about none of that stuff. We're talking about a water creature that slithery. We're talking about a water creature that you're not just grabbing. Why? Because what is it about an eel? Right? Highly electrical. So you have this individual calling herself an electrified fish snake, talking about birthrights and nationality. Right? Now, this is first-hand information about these people that he's FBI informant. It's not a secret. It's not anything we'll make up stuff or whatever. He's such an FBI informant that Brother Omar, who everybody knows, you guys know Omar's voice, right? Brother Omar had a appeal for a traffic light fraud ticket stuff. So he goes to the appeal, and in the appeal, they bring up to him, right? The prosecutor goes in their little stash of whatever, case law and all this stuff, and they pull out stuff, try to compare him to this guy. Because we happen to be in Canada too. So, since same thing with the mentality that, oh, well, he wears a fez, I guess he's a Moor, so we're going to use this guy's case that he had in Alberta, that Alberta recognized him as a fraud, right? They're going to use that case to try to prove that the Moor in Canaanland, our territory, is a fraud too. Right? Why? Because what he does, he talks about sovereign citizens, sovereign this, sovereign that. He has his own flag, his own nation, all that stuff. BS. But people are going to back this position that he has. Why? Because the purpose of individuals that don't deal with constitutional civic demonstration is to mislead people into thinking that they're legitimate or they have some seat of power when their seat of power is defunct. Their seat of power has no legitimacy. The only um, position that they have is to sell out people's birthright. The only reason that now when we talk about um, them using case law, right, against a Moorish American. Because remember, he doesn't say he's Moorish American. They're their own nation or whatever like that. So they have no ties to the Prophet. No Jolly already told the Moors, Prophet up front, and nobody's not going to recognize this. These guys don't have a Prophet up front, so they're not recognized. They pretend like they recognize. They pretend like they have some type of authority or whatever. But when the head of their stuff gets arrested and his wife is calling Cujo to find out how to do a writ of habeas corpus to get him out or whatever, doesn't that tell you that they don't have authority and don't know what the hell they're talking about? Clearly they don't know what they're talking about. Go and we challenge people online. Go ask his wife who she called when he got kidnapped. It was us that she called. If we're so dirty and we're so FBI agent, why are you calling us? Right? Keep in mind, this is 2010 we addressed these people. 2015 right now, these people are still coming up. He's in Calgary. He has nothing to do with over there. But the problem is that once Moors become active and they start studying, people can't run game on them anymore. Just like last night I was talking to a Moor. Just last night I was talking to a Moor. Nanya Shabu Il tried to get him for $1,600. Oh. Price went up. It used to be 1,000. It used to be 1,000 notes. Give them 1,000 notes, you're gonna get some papers or some card, some crap that has no authority. But these people are running game on people. Well, we've been exposing them. That's why we're putting it out there again. Expose them again. Because people don't get it. People keep playing this game like there's such a thing as selling birthrights to people. There's no such thing as somebody selling you your nationality. There's no such thing as that. That's why the brother said, as soon as the brother said 1,600, immediately stuff started going off in his head like, what is it, 1,600 or whatever. Because he was pre-studied to know that nationality is free. And this guy thought he was dealing with an idiot who didn't have any knowledge of anything. Which is why most of these people get away with whatever it is that they get away with as far as robbing people. Because the individuals that they're engaging don't take time to study for themselves. They hear something, want to go do it, want to find the fastest way to go do something, opposed to going and studying. And when we come out and start talking about these people, right, then we're FBI agents now. Right? Now we're the dirty Moors. Because why? Because we're stopping their.
But it's good that just killing the carcass.
Yeah, but it's not for us. It's for people to do it. It's for people who know to do it as well. It's not just good enough that few Moors are talking about the fraud of something. Moors who have experienced it need to bring it to the forefront. Or people are going to keep getting game. And the more people get game, the more people say, I don't want nothing to do with this. Which defeats the purpose of even doing this. Because the purpose of this is to uplift fallen humanity, wake up people who don't have this knowledge. But if we're taking the position of not casting out the dead carcass, right? And keep in mind as well that Kavit Tor is also buyer beware. So if the statement is made Kavit Tor, and that means buyer beware, right? If somebody has a price tag on nationality, buyer beware. Because they're not supposed to be a price tag on nationality. As soon as there's a price on it, immediately people should be questioning that stuff. 1,600 for some papers, 4 sheets of papers or whatever to say that you're a Moor? 1,600. That they've been got from stupid people already. This is not something new that they're doing. They already paid off their car or whatever like that they got with people's fiat. They already paid off stuff. We're not talking they just got a check. We're talking about they've already stolen fiat from people and already bought stuff with the fiat that they stole from people. Cast out the dead carcass. Stop playing games with people who are obviously dirty Moors. Noble Jawali told the Moors, don't mark their fez. Be clean like your prophet. All these dirty Moors are on there, mark fezzes, all honks on their fez, putting buttons on their fez, all this type of stuff. And then people going with that, like that's legit. When the prophet himself said don't mark their fez, then Moors are marking fezzes up. Same guy has an ankh on his fez. Why does he have an ankh on his fez? Because he comes from Dr. Malachi York School. Another fraud guy. That game people. Have people think he's some Yamasee chief of something. He got some authority in some ancient Egyptian order of some Mason stuff. When half that stuff is a fraud. Noble Jawali put him on. Talk about Dr. York. He ain't coming to this information just because he's, you know what I mean, in the family of Moors. He's an R&B singer. He found out about Noble Jawali and emulated everything that Noble Jawali did in order to do what he had to do in Atlanta, have pyramids and all this stuff. When people go in there and say, oh yeah, we're going to go join the nation. They got pyramids, they got their own land or whatever. It's bulldozed right now. How come? Because they were a fraud. But it's not Europeans' job to do that. It's Moors. It's not Europeans' job to point out these faults. Even when the European points out faults, people are going to actually go back it now because Europeans said. Now they think that, oh yeah, the enemy said something against our brothers, so we're going to go side with him more now. That's a play that they have. That's a play that they have. That's a move that they do. That's a crossover. To get people to go chase after these frauds. When carcass is supposed to be done, cast it out already. Noble Jawali laid down everything for the Moors to be free. Gave them everything it takes to save a nation. Take it and save yourself. They have Moors right now who they're in temples right now. Their so-called grand whoever is telling them that I'm a fraud because I told them that the temple should be sealing their documents, their writs, whatever it is that they got, whatever situation that they're dealing with in society. If it needs a seal or a signature, they're supposed to go to the heads of the temple to go get a seal or a signature. Not goddamn notary. You're a notary. Yeah, what?
With the whole notary thing, I have to get something notarized in the Land and Transport Department. And a lawyer, attorney said to me, this is a, remember I told you this? This is a fraud? Because I've been in the prison long enough to tell you this is a fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. About the notary.
Yeah, because, oh yeah.
The notary was telling
me, because there was a signature, and now I remember, there was a signature that I needed from him, obviously, in a stamp, and he said, oh, it's $30. Well, I heard it was 50, so I was happy, but he saw the look on my face, and he thought that I was upset. So he was like, oh, because I know this is a fraud. Because I've been in this long enough to tell you it's a fraud. That's what he said to me. But he didn't know that I was happy about the $30. So just to let you know, he exposed it right there.
Right? Okay. Right? And like was and that thing of
Oh, and
more brought up.
I wanted to bring
Yeah,
up
go ahead.
before with the same, because we were talking about my case, when they tried to refer me to, or to connect me with Manuel, they had said that they
Eel.
sorry, Eel, that they had determined that his argument was fraudulent,
Yeah.
and that was what they were then trying to do. They were trying to place me with him,
Right.
and trying to connect me with free man on the land.
Why?
So
Because
that was that to just let everyone know that is what their argument now is. Now that there has been a fraudulent position that they can now refer to, I guess in the case law, they're now trying to put all of us there.
right, in the jurisdiction. Right? Which is why when you go check the record, we did the we are not sovereign citizens class. So people know we're not in that category. Don't classify us as sovereign anything.
We're not black sovereign.
Right?
Put that out there. We're not black sovereign.
We are not black sovereigns. Because remember, keep in mind, right? Keep in mind that when we talk about um when we talk about teachers, right? When we talk about teachers, from the generations of the 70s plus, right? You're dealing with the Martins, El Haj, Black Panther Party, right? As the foundation. Can't forget Garvey, Rastas, right? We're dealing with a foundation that dealt with national principles. The national principles that Martin started talking about before they assassinated him. He was talking about human rights. He forgot all that civil rights crap that he was talking about. Immediately stopped talking about all that crap, right? El Haj, he wasn't dealing with any of that. I'm black, they're white, whatever like that. Human rights. Black Panther Party, they were there to protect the community. They weren't there to shoot police and stuff like that. That wasn't what they were dealing with, right? Marcus Garvey, you already know. Nationhood. Rastafari, you already know. Going back to holistic life. Going back to herbology, vegetarianism, vegan diet, things like that. So that's a foundation based on national principles. The fraud comes in when you have people like Dr. York, who we know is an L. So he had knowledge of self if he's going to be L, but then, he's doing stuff, he take this out, and he just say Dr. York, and call all these other names, and make up all these other names or whatever, and never attach L to it ever again. because he knew better. That's why he got 100 whatever years or whatever. Because you can't tell me that you're gonna have stuff say that you're L, and then over here you're not gonna say that you're L. But then when court time comes, now you say that you're L. Now that you're in court, you're in a situation. Now you're gonna bring out the red fez. You're not gonna bring out the black fez with the ankh on it that you've been parading around the place with for the past 40 years. Now you're gonna bring out the red fez now. All the other time, red fez didn't matter. But as soon as case comes, now he has red fez. That's fraud. But, how much people still back that today, 2015? Still back him. Willingly back him. Why? Because they didn't cast out the dead carcass. Why? Because he told people, black equals death. So anybody pushing anything like that as a perspective, they shouldn't even be considered if you're more. I don't care about unity with them or nothing like that. They shouldn't be considered. Because their status is dead. Their status is death. You walk around with a carcass around here, see how much people come chill with you. Let's get a carcass of anything. Rat carcass, dog carcass, cow carcass, whatever. You be friends with a carcass and see how much friends you have. The position is cleaning out the closet. Because the only reason that we're in problems right now is because we ain't cleaning out the closet. We recognize and acknowledge that there's a fraud and did nothing about it. No different than people recognize and acknowledge, my last name is Jackson. That came from a slave master, and they just lived their life with slave master's name, knowing that that's slave master. People who have so-called Bible at home, Revelations, skin like burnt brass, they have European on the wall. You got European on the wall when the book that you got right there says that dark skin. And then they don't think anything's coming back. And then anything negative that comes, they don't blame their ignorance on the negative. They say that, you're a devil or whatever, somebody did something to them. When it's really them in their dead status, drawing this death to them all the time. When you look at Chicago, murder capital. More murders there than anywhere else. But NY's biggest mosque is there too. What do they say? Black. Oh, what are they drawing? What kind of energy are they drawing to that place? Death. Every day, all day. Because it's a science. And Noble Draw Claim cleared all this up. We're not supposed to be having any issues right now. They're supposed to be, like we were talking about last week or 2 weeks ago. These guys are supposed to say, yeah, we're going to do a lecture, debate, or whatever like that. And then they pull up, yeah, let's do this or whatever. And then they're in there by themselves. Because nobody goes to it. Because it's a fraud. Why are two black guys arguing about which one's right, Kemet or Jews or whatever? Which one's better, Hebrew Israelites or whatever? And both those guys' status is they have a license from U.S. government talking about their conscience. You got a license from the state and you didn't even live within contract delivery rights on that or nothing. They got licenses. They got social insurance or whatever. And they don't deal with law from the perspective that they should deal with it if they say that they're conscious. They take the position of law is the white man stuff and whatever like that. All of them, you name them, that's how they talk. If they have any type of freedoms or whatever like that, it came from God gave that to them, whatever like that, especially Europeans, we're son of God, that's why we can exercise common law and we have a sovereign citizens, whatever. When the only reason that they have that power to exercise that is because they're in Morocco. And Morocco is a free state for anybody who wants to follow the Constitution. Hey, come on over. It's open here. This is a free jurisdiction where people could come here and do what they will. Once they're not harming anybody, violating anybody's rights or whatever like that, do your thing. As soon as you start violating people, right? As soon as you start talking about these people are ignorant to their nationality and birthrights, and I'm gonna tell them 1600 for it, willingly and openly, then there's things that have to be dealt with, and it's the Moors that have to deal with it. We cannot expect the dirty people to do right. Their job is not to do right. Their job is to cause the confusion that we're going through right now. People complaining about. Everybody's complaining about, oh yeah, confusion in the Moorish, whatever. But I'm not confused about nothing. Y'all Moors not confused about nothing. The Moors online, they're not confused about nothing. So what people talk about, there's confusion. Well, there's no unity because, the Moors and then the Moors don't have whatever. There's Moors in South Carolina. They've been on their own plates for 20 years. There's Moors in North Carolina that they've been doing whatever for the past 30 years. There's Moors that already use nationality cards, went on planes and all that type of stuff. So what do you mean there's no unity? The people's concepts are messed up because they're listening to the carcasses instead of leaving those people alone. So we already put out where you go get the information from. It's not even secret. Same references, past 7, 8 years, same people. We don't do Skypes with the same people. And the only other people that we do stuff with is people who study from them people. And if you don't get the pattern yet, you realize that there's a protocol, that we have a standard that we live up to, that we don't go below our standard. We gave Nanya Shabuel a platform because, we saw him as a Moor in Canada, just like us. So, hey, come talk. We bring him to come talk. Before he even talks, we decide, the events that we do flyers for the events. You know what I mean? So we're setting up to do flyers. Now, how is, if this doesn't show you the hypocrisy, right? Then people are just gonna get whatever they get, whatever. If you pay 1,600, yeah, who cares? That's your business. We're doing this flyer. Sent them the flyer. Looked at the flyer. Oh yeah, this flyer's good, but could you put this in and change the thing and whatever. Ain't no big deal. Alright, cool. There was about 8 times of that. Oh well, the colors, they can't read the flyer, so they put this color. Alright, switch the color to whatever. Send it back here. Oh well, you forgot to put the hyphen in the hyphen is supposed to be over here, and then over here is supposed to have. Okay, and send it back again. Oh well, could you move this down a little bit because that ain't no different than some rapper guy say, yeah, we want to do a show, but make sure I have my briefs, you know what I mean? Make sure I have 3 bottles of the cognac right there, and I want to make sure that I have the slippers when I get out the washroom. I can just put the slippers on or whatever like that. You're supposed to come here and do a show. What are you talking about with slippers and stuff like that? What do you mean? That's what this turned into with people. Have people out there when they say, yeah, bring somebody down and do a lecture or whatever. They're paying whatever, 500-700 for air stuff. Then on top of air stuff, then they gotta pay them a fee for whatever. And on top of a fee, lecture fee, they gotta pay them for hotel or something like that. And then on top of hotel, they gotta take them out to eat and all this type of stuff. And that's what this has turned into. This is not uplifting fallen humanity anymore. This is, I'm gonna retire doing lectures or whatever because I could charge 5,000 and people will pay. I can say 1,600 for nationality card. I could say 1,600 for nationality papers, and they'll pay. All these people that's been running this fraud for this whole time, their time is cut now. Why? Because all the information that active Moors have been putting out, that pebble that active Moors dropped 40 years ago is now rippling now. And people are getting this information like, and they're waking up like, they're not confused about what this is and how all the Moors, as far as Moors that considered, new Moors just coming into the movement or whatever. All the ones that we deal with, every single one that I've spoken to from outside of Canaanland came to me on the perspective of, the guy over there tried to get me for 1,000. The guy over there tried to get me 1,200. The guy over there 600. The guy over there 3,500. The guy over there 2,000 whatever. Oh, these guys wanted me to wear a red tie and the fez has to be tilted like this before I can get my Quran. I have to go through whatever, do this, do that in order to get whatever. Oh, I got a circle 7 and it's a circle with a 7 on the cover. It's not like, it doesn't have the 4 quadrants. Moore is telling them, oh, that's the wrong book. You shouldn't have got that book. That's not the right Quran. That Quran's wrong because it didn't have the 4 bricks in the circle.
You mean that was the opposite.
Yeah, they're saying their Quran look like
have
this.
a full circle.
Yeah,
the wrong one.
it's the wrong one because it's supposed to look like this. This one is the right one. This one, oh no, you don't want to go with that because when you open the book, it's the same stuff in there, right?
Yeah, do you have a pamphlet of what's right now and what's wrong? Because I'm coming into this. And
if you go to you go to a website.
Okay, please.
Go to a website called the Moorish Directory.
Okay.
.com. The MoorisDirectory.com. And just go under Dirty Moors. Explain to you what they are. Eventually they're going to have the list up there of all the dirty Moors around here. So everybody can know.
No.
That's not the list to be on.
No, but I just want to find them out so I don't get it to them.
How you find them out is because you have, if you're studying, if you're civic minded,
Yeah.
right? If you're civic minded and constitutional,
Yeah.
you're privy to certain information
Okay.
that the dirty Moors don't know that you're privy to unless you tell them. So, for example, let's do this right now. A lot of the reading today is going to be from one of the master teacher's books, addressing misunderstandings of purpose concerning Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Noble Joe Ali, the Moorish Divine and National Movement, right, by Taj Tariq Bey. Now, this book was put out to address the same issues that we're talking about. Dirty Moors say stuff. Everybody runs with what dirty Moors say. Don't check what the Prophet said, and then they get themselves in something, and then they're blaming Moors instead of blaming that individual that robbed them 1,600. Right? Just like the people who call me and say, oh yeah, this Moor, whatever, this Moor, that Moor over there, he said 1,500 and whatever. Right? That they should be doing that, putting them out, exposing the fraud, because the experience happened to them. But I guarantee you, let a highwayman violate them, before they quick to go write writs and put stuff up, put their picture out there and all that stuff. Dirty Moor violate somebody or not? You just leave it alone. You don't have to worry about that. When that's what the problem is. The problem is not just European. Like we're saying right now, there's more right now in our jurisdiction that the so-called corporate state of Canada acknowledges and recognizes their claims of whatever they're making. Recognize. They're not questioning them, nothing like that. They're telling them, oh, you got an issue? Okay, well, when you come here next time, just come see me. You're not standing in line and all that stuff. You got priority, first come, whatever stuff. They'll call me from the back and I'll come to you. That's what they're doing with us.
Oh. I'm going to point out that we are finally being shown acknowledgement for who we are. Yeah. That the corporation
it's not a
acknowledging us.
Yeah.
Finally.
Work has been done.
No, and I agree with you because they did that to us at the landlord and tenant board. When we went there with my case the last time, they quickly got our case through.
Yeah.
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 And bring police too. Which that court not supposed to be seen.
Exactly, because that's a landlord tenancy board. That ain't no court. What they got police there for?
Private under top.
Exactly, private.
Private, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Private. So
yeah.
okay, but if they're private, if landlord and tenancy board can say, hey, we want to get those guys over there to go over there or whatever, then that means that they're not officers.
Yeah.
They're private security.
Yeah.
Anybody could hire. Go ask the club district.
Yeah. Undercover.
They hire them.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to expose that too.
Right? It's already exposed. We're the ones that make this mess out here run.
So we're going to shut it down.
Right? We're the ones that make this run. Why? Because we're busy listening to individuals whose purpose and position is to keep us not making progress. To keep us back and forthing about what's right, what's wrong, and those Moors over there said, and well, those Moors said whatever, well, those Moors over there, whatever, and then these Moors over here, and then nobody never said, put the prophet in there and compare all these Moors are saying to what the prophet said. How about that? How about that first? Instead of, hey, that guy over there, don't worry about that guy over there. What did the prophet say? Well, he said that. No, what did the prophet say? Well, the prophet never made reference to that. That should tell you something. The prophet never said the term naturalize in any of his documentation. How is it that people are convinced by people who say, oh yeah, naturalize? $145 though, you can naturalize it. Well, nationality is supposed to be free. No, we're not talking about nationality because, nationality comes through naturalization. Yeah, true, but, that's only for foreigners. We're not foreigners. This is our land. Well, we're Negro, black color. No, we're not. We fooled into thinking that we're that. We've been Moors. Even when we thought we were Negroes, we were Moors. Before Noble Juali came, we were Moors. We didn't just turn Moors because of Noble Juali or whatever. We've been Moors.
What was it about booklet again?
You got this already? Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. If you don't, rvbaypublications.com, addressing misunderstandings of purpose concerning Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Noble Juali. We already read the reading to be proclaimed every meeting, so this is relative to this, or relative to that. Upon reading and analyzing the aforesaid letter to be proclaimed every meeting, and filtering through the many other sources of other credible Moorish literature and information, we are enabled to see the serious internal problems Noble Juali was faced with in the mid-1920s. Notice that the date of the letter is January 18, 1929. His mission was being undermined and diverted by infiltrators, forcing him to make changes and compelling him to reorganize, to deal with thieves, traitors, and subversives within the Moorish movement. This becomes discomfortingly and clearly apparent. In social engineering war games, distraction and confusion are common strategy methods used by infiltrators and disruptors. These are used to interpret or stagnate the progress and unity of a freedom-oriented organization. So Noble Drawley, in social engineering war games, distraction and confusion are common strategy methods used by infiltrators and disruptors. These are used to interrupt or stagnate the progress of unity these are used to interrupt or stagnate the progress and unity of a freedom-oriented organization. So the Moor Science Temple of America is a corporate name that was adopted by a civic organization because many of the people who were involved in the movement weren't taught by the adepts that this is civic. They were taught by the adepts that this is religious. So Noble Drawley added a religious organization component in order for people who were religious minded to have a place too. So they can't say that they were left out. They can't say prophet didn't bring nothing for us and this the prophet. They had a position. The religious perspective. Moor Science Temple of America. Which, keep in mind, had a civic undertone. Because, like we were talking about, the right to religion is constitutional. It's not religious. It's not, religion doesn't give you the right to have a religion. Right? The Constitution enforces the right to have a religion. So that means religion is civic. Religious isn't divine. Divine is astrology. National is jurisprudence. There's no pillar of religion in the Moorish movement. Because religion is within the national sphere or the national pillar of the movement. It's not by itself. Divine has to do with astrology. Divine has to do with the higher sciences. Divine has to do with things beyond the door. Divine is open the temple door and just galaxy out there. And planets and quasars and shooting stars and all that. You're like, well, just open the door. How come stuff's out there like that? Because that's what divine is. Out there. Divine's not this realm. Divine's not things that happen here that we say, oh yeah, oh, that must be divine because, God touched it. That's not divine. Divine is cosmic. So once Noble Drawley realized about the infiltrating and the disruptors and the people who were trying to get the people's mind frame off of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, he took the position of creating a place for these people who were creating this madness or whatever, because they're going to follow. If the prophet's around, they're going to follow what he said. If he's not around, then they're going to do what they want. So right before he left the scene, he set up this organization, Moor Science Temple of America. And we'll just see who goes in that. Because remember, there was Old Canaanite Temple, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Great Seal, all these different levels of this movement. There are all these different junctures that any one of them could be used for the salvation of the people. You don't have to just use Moor Science Temple only. But the perspective is Noble Drawley relative to Moor Science Temple, and that's it. They don't relate him to anything else Moorish. They only relate him to Moor Science Temple. which is part of the infiltration, to own him so they could own all his stuff and start telling people about, it needs this 7. But if you have that 7, you have the wrong Quran. Or Amor said, he went to a temple and he had a Quran, and they're telling him he shouldn't have got that Quran from where he got it. He should have got it from them. Because that's a Moorish Science Temple book, and how did you get it if it's not from the Moorish Science Temple? It's stupidness like that. When Noble Drew Ali said he's universal, if he's universal, isn't his message?
Here's a question. So the creation of the religious side of it was to counter the sort of detractors?
It was to create a jurisdiction where it was to create a jurisdiction where people who weren't dealing with civic things, civic subject matter, right, can still belong to this. They can still have a place. What happened with the infiltrators is that the infiltrators took the Moorish Science Temple of America as the all and be all. Right? The Moorish Science Temple of America was taken as the Moorish movement,
right,
by the infiltrators.
Right.
But that's a religious organization. It's a corporation. That's all it is. It has many facets that it can be used as. Just like we saying, ours is a museum.
No,
and it's a consulate.
I think that maybe when Stephanie and I were sort of lost the train of thought, but the answer to that, to the civic part of it, was to sort of include those people?
Include the people who weren't civic-minded, but
religious-minded.
So they can still have the right to exercise their, birthright, but from a religious perspective, because they weren't into writs and all these. Just like today, you meet people today. Well, I don't really want to write writs or whatever. I just want to be, a divine being. Oh well, you got a position for that. No problem.
Well, that's why I thought Moorish Science Temple.
Right. No problem. There's a place for everybody in this. There's no, you don't belong. There's a place for everybody to belong. The problem is that the people that want to belong, they want to belong based on what they heard from people, or what they can get out of being Moors. Well, there ain't nothing that you can get. You already have everything. What more do you want? You got your nationality and your birthright and your divine creed. What more do you want than that? Right? Nationality. Once you have a nationality, you're tied to the land. You don't need you don't need somebody to bring you a paper saying that, oh yeah, you got all these acres. It's not needed. But if it's like with the Moors that like they'll make statements like, Moors are supposed to follow the law. All these people who are going out and they're in claim houses and they want a right to travel, and they're wrong because they're violating the law. That's religious mindedness. Religion from the sense of dogma, not religion as in law or whatever. Right? That dogma mentality that Moors are wrong because they're challenging the state. That's fraud. People talking like that. You tell me that I'm wrong for challenging some Europeans who are escheating and de facto and doing all these fraudulent things? You tell me that we're supposed to go with that?
No way.
If Noble Drew Ali told the Moors you're not Negro, black, or colored, right? And color is a law term, then he's saying that you're not colored. You're not under the color of law. You're not under the color of authority, the color of jurisdiction, whatever color that they want to create to try to make some type of legitimate position. Their position can't be legitimate. And that includes the individuals who sold out, because they had to side with the Inquisition, who are colored, in order to sell us out. They can't sell us out as Moors. They have to denationalize themselves to sell out. And then, put on the guise that they're Moors, but they're not no Moors. In the sense of, nationalized and whatever like that. They're playing the game of get people to abandon their own stuff. And once the people abandon their own thing, then they have nobody to blame but themselves. Which is, I would say, is when people get railroaded by these individuals that call themselves Moors, heads of temples or whatever like that, and they get railroaded by them, they're supposed to be putting their ass on Front Street. Just like they do with anybody else that violates them. But when it comes to Moors, they don't do nothing to them. They let them chill. They let them do whatever it is that they were doing. When it's a disservice to know that fraud's going on and not call it out. It serves no purpose to know that there's individuals that came into this, and their purpose of coming into this was to mislead the people. Their purpose of coming into this was to get people to think that, the temple is not supposed to seal their papers. And they haven't even started using that yet. Using the temple like notary. Oh yeah, 150, we'll seal your papers over here. Come to us or whatever like that. They didn't even start on that part yet. That part didn't even reach yet. But that's evidence of fraud. So they know the line that they have to stay on. They know that much, that they can't pretend to be Moor Science Temple and seal people's documents and charge whatever for that, right? But they know that because the people are waking up and they're coming into this at an alarming rate, that people want freedom. You know what I mean? People, our people are the most violated people on the planet. Like we want some peace or whatever. And if it means 1600 because some papers to be free, then yeah, I'll put up the 1600. Right? Out of desperation. When that's supreme violation, but it doesn't fall on the person that violated them. Because that individual, Kavit Tor, buyer didn't beware. But that's a lesson. If you're going to buy something, beware of who you're buying from. Kavit Tor. Buyer beware. As soon as you go put it down, you better be really thinking about who this is that you're buying from, where they get their stuff from. Did they get it legitimately? Is it a fraud? You got to be thinking about something if they're saying put down finance. Just like anything else. You know what I mean? You go to the store, you put down finance, first thing you check, expiry date. Is this still good? It's on the shelf, so hey, just pick it up. But if the people aren't using their noggin, they're not using their common sense, then they get abused. And every time they get abused, they don't go and kick those guys' asses that abuse them. They don't want to blame Moors in general. Oh, the Moors. Forget the Moors because, I lost my house because of Moors. So why do you kick that guy's ass for making you lose your house? Why are you still around here selling packages to people? So hold on a second. So a guy stole your house with some papers that he sold you that's a fraud. You never said nothing about it. You just let them continue doing that stuff. That's cowardice. That's punk stuff. Now you get violated and you don't do nothing about it. You just let them go violate some other people. And the only reason why they're violating some other people is because the person who initially got violated didn't say anything. And now that person who got violated initially, now they're going through all this other stuff and they're blaming European did it, police did it, judge did it, whatever did it, when they brought all their stuff on themselves. Because they took the passive approach of, Nothing happened. So it was alright, you know. My fault. I should have not paid the 1,600. 1,600? You're really strangling some people. So they're charging you 1,600 for 4 papers, and you paid.
Well, you the average.
Yo, you see how much papers? That's real. 4 sheets of paper, 1,600.
Really?
4 sheets of paper. Because everybody wants to go all over the place and learn from all these Moors because they got feathers on. And we tell people, RV Bay Publications, because they're the most credible Moors out there. Everything that they put out, you back up upon back up upon back up upon back up to see that it's legit. And if you find out something that's wrong or that they messed up or whatever, they're telling you, make sure you let us know so we can correct the stuff. They're not taking a position of, oh, nah, you can't say that or whatever. We put that out. We got been doing this for 10 years. You can't tell us our website's wrong. That's how Moors act when you start challenging them on the stuff that they got on their website. They're quick to tell you that, you know, we're right. Why are you right when, you know, stuff's wrong? And then, you know, then you become FBI agent and stuff like that. But it's okay. Because once the people start realizing what's up, you know, that's how you put our stuff on them. So that hopefully those people who are already with those dirty Moors, they'll stop back and say, oh, yeah, they charged me 1,600 for my birthright or whatever. They're telling us, you know, we were supposed to have a school 5 years ago. We've been putting $50 in this pot for a school, and there ain't no school in 5 years. Where's the school at? And they're not asking no questions. They just, you know, out of love for the Prophet and love for Allah and love for the Grand Sheikh and the Grand Governor and Grand whatever, you know, we'll just sit here and let these people run amok with our birthright. And it's supposed to be a standard across the board. But the issue again is people not knowing before they do stuff. People want, here, just do this and it's gonna get you, Well, it just doesn't work like that. You can't pay for this. If we have to pay for this, you don't have enough money to pay for this. If you have to pay for this. If somebody's telling me nationality and birthright, 1,600, I already know that they're a fraud. But you should be paying $1 million. If you're paying. If you're really gonna pay for this, you should be paying 1 point whatever million. And they're not charging you that. So obviously this must be free and somebody's gaming. Because it's worth that much. More than that. And then that $1 million has to be in gold and silver, not in paper. Or no credit. Swipe 1.5 million. They got the portable machine now. You know, people that sell their birthright. You got a question?
Yes. So on your application that you have, you should put the birthright paper should be free so that we can know now when we come up against papers that saying the same money we know that's wrong.
It's like
Okay, I'll correct it after, but we have to get rid of that word application right there. It's the form.
No, the form.
Okay, that's the first thing. No does not have to be written on there because that has nothing to do with being a Moor. Your nationality, as it says, is already free. You are that nationality as a Moor. That form is just for administrative purposes, mainly.
speaking about that. So the jurisdiction.
I'll explain that.
So when we say, for example, when we say divine constitution and bylaws of the Moor Science Temple, right?
Yeah.
That's domestic. That's not international. That's for the Moors. That's our personal divine constitution and bylaws. That's not something you're going to go out there and enforce that on people. Because that's our collective agreement. That's our collective instruction. Then outside that, then you got the national constitution. Or the state constitution. Then outside that, you got the national constitution. Which all these things are hinged on. But remember that during Noble Drew Ali's time, majority of the states were still sovereign. They were still sovereign states. So they had a constitution. Whereas up here, they didn't accede to the Union. They could have, but they didn't. That's why you have British North American Act and Constitution Act and Highway Traffic Act and all these acts that they're trying to pose as law. Because they took the position of, this is domestic. This is for our little shadow of people called Canadian citizens. Anybody wants to be Canadian citizen? Don't worry. We got a little reserve right here that we can house you in. Because they don't really have any claim to the land. Right? But they, the mind, they got claim every day, all day.
I hear they're pulling that back too. I hear they're even moving some of them out of there too.
Yeah.
They're pulling back on them.
Yeah. Because, internationally, they know that they haven't done anything to assist the indigenous people. And that those people that they've been claiming to assist aren't the indigenous people. So now they're in a position where, which one are we going to do? We're going to keep supporting these guys and have international community looking at us like we don't know what we're doing, calling ourselves government? Or are we going to oust those people as frauds, right? In order to save face so that nobody points out that we're really the fraud. Saying that we're the Canadian government and the federal government and municipal or whatever like that, and wherever they got charters, and when they don't have any authority with regard to saying that they're government in this jurisdiction. One, because they're European, majority of them, right? And in order for them to have claim, they have to be in their land to have specific claim. They can make claims general.
Yeah.
They make general claim, yeah, that's our building, that's our bank, that's our courthouse, it's our whatever. They put the freaking trillium on it. Ontario,
We're never given
but
permission.
they weren't given no authority to set that up. They just set that up because we weren't setting up stuff.
Well, once we reclaim the land, that building
Then becomes our building.
no problem.
And they got a big problem then.
I just want to after two places to Jim and I was listening, Europe obviously having a big peace problem because it's going to start to fall apart. We're talking about a stimulus program in Europe. And I realized right then that they were exposing the fraud that even in Europe they don't have jurisdiction.
Exactly.
Because stimulus has to do with the fact that they have no claim to anything. So it's right out there too. That even in Europe they're on our land.
Right.
So what do you expect to occur when you see that at the rate that you're explaining that everybody's becoming wise to what the truth is? They're not just gonna sit there and take that. They're killing us already in that regard. They treat unfairly whatever they got their backing as far as their government, whether false or not.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're just gonna lay down and take the fact that people are waking up and claiming their land.
No, and they don't have to.
Right.
Just make sure that you respect our claim.
Right.
You do whatever you want, Negro, black, colored people. I don't really care personally. You want to choke people on the corner or whatever, do whatever you guys want to do. Because that has nothing to do with me and my birthright.
Right.
That has to do with those people wanting to be stateless. And if we put it onto them that, hey, You know you're not stateless. You have a nationality or whatever. Post receipts of, I bought this and then receipt taxes off, and I bought this, receipt taxes off, and only thing they come up with,
We can't really
not comment,
Yeah.
go about their business. You know what I mean? Then obviously they want to be slaves. They can't do nothing about that if they want to be slaves. That's their birthright if they don't want to pick it up. This is where it comes into it that we can't sell this because it's their stuff. You don't sell people their own stuff. It's their stuff. Whether they want it or not is up to them. But they can't say that Moors never told them, yeah, you got a birthright. Whoever it is out there. Nobody can say, Moors told y'all that you have a birthright. So, Omar,
I was just going to answer the brother here though, what their answer is going to be for that, what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, the answer is it's a divine movement. So once you start activating that, the spirit is going to, and it's going to be done in words that you can't, that's not going to be able to be told.
Oh, I hear that.
Once we start claiming that, they're not going to be an issue anymore. You're still taking this from that framework that the power only resides because we're giving them the power.
Well, the whole thing is, I really don't care what they do. At the end of the day, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
But what I like to prepare my mind just for whatever outcome is there to come, right? But that when it comes down to them when they see that they're losing, they're gonna want to try and whether they try to put some kind of law in place or restructure this and that.
Well, my answer to that is that the spirit is going to speak back, and I can't explain to you how that's going to manifest.
Oh, I hear that.
What I'm saying is that connection to the ethers is what's going to answer that back, and that what your duty is to put yourself in that right frame of mind so that you're able
so that the spirits could
definitely.
Yeah.
But to me, they always focus on the control. Like even like as we're awakening, they're doing things like, let's say, the chip that they're trying to implement where it becomes mandatory. Things like that. And there's obviously something else that's gonna, right?
Well, you have certain things you have to consent to. Like they're not just gonna run up on people, poke them.
Oh no. Definitely.
They're gonna have to go. They're gonna have to say, yeah, we're doing the chip, whatever. Yeah. Bring your health card or whatever like that, and we'll give you the stuff. But if you don't go, then you ain't getting.
There's so many asleep that they put it out. Somebody posted the other day. They posted it, and people they're saying, yeah, I'll take it. My animal has it. There's so many asleep that they attack those people first with.
Yeah, that's and no different than that's how the bully gets down. Beat up the little guy who can't defend himself. Yeah. The little guy does not take that. Little guy can go call up some of the crew like, this guy, you have to deal with this guy first. Yeah. You know what I mean? And 50 little guys will kick the bully's ass.
So do we have banks established as far as Moors or anything set up?
We can say had, but dirty Moors. Because we have manufacturing companies and we had that. Dirty Moors, our own schools, they got pictures of them. Whole school turbaned up or whatever, obviously they were Moors. That's gone. Convenience store, had all that stuff, that's gone. Fishing companies, cookie store or whatever like that, we had all the stuff that we needed in order for us to not be in this. But everybody sold out. Everybody sold out. Mm-hmm. So that we don't have anything today. And everybody's still chilling with the sellouts. Mm-hmm. That sold out. Knowingly, know that those guys were the ones that sold out the stuff. How do we know? Because you already said that we're not Negro black colored. Anybody calling us any of those stuff is down with the sellout. Yeah. Anybody, I don't care who they are, what kind of status they got, whatever. If they uttered out their mouth that we're Negro black colored or their people are Negro black colored African came over here on slave ship, those guys sell out. Lynch those guys. Because, they already sold out. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do with them now? Other than put them on the wall and riddle them with bullets. They already dropped the ball. They already lost the championship game for us. What are we talking about next year? You know what I mean? It's over. Mm-hmm. There should be no dealings with those people. Yeah. Everybody who's coming in should be clear immediately. Yes.
Your property is already
How
sold.
much to kind of,
To a bit, well, I mean, you know, if we're looking at, like we were talking about in last class with the rich people who put their little hex on Warner Brothers to get whatever it is that they want, right? Collectively, they got their stuff. Yeah, you know, I mean, but you know, it's once the people are in the same mind frame, which is why we again stick to the civic, constitutional, astrology, so everybody's mindset is in the same place. So it doesn't matter wherever that we are, we have a connection as active Moors, faithful Moors, true Moorish Americans. Whatever Noble Jolly talked about, we have a connection. Like um there aren't Moors who don't know about Canaanland. Whether dirty, new, whatever like that, they know about out here because there's a common theme with Moors who know about. You know, Canaanland's not um um something talked about by everybody, right? But they know about it because the guidelines that we follow is the same guidelines as other Moors who are active. And that excuse my spelling if I spelled it wrong, but look up particulates, right? Particulates. And that's getting the mind in a certain place where things manifest. Right? That's why Noble Drawley was so focused on the mind. Because once the mind changes, then out here is gonna change. Once the mind has the ingredients out here, you'll bake something.
I want to say, like you were saying about, like, why are we going to do this kind of stuff? Like, some days. Like, just by watching videos, like, that are course, stuff like that, basically, all I see them doing is, like, you don't acknowledge what you're saying, you're saying that you're such a core, it's nonsense, first thing they do is they go to research.
Right. Yeah.
And then what I see is like a lot of times people would say that after research they come together and say that you see the role
Yeah.
or slow
Yeah.
or
Yeah. All of a sudden they
yeah,
pull you to the side.
Whatever church you're on,
Yeah. That don't.
or they just don't want the public
To know.
You know, people don't want people in the court to see that
Right.
they need to get off.
Right.
They make it look like, oh, you're going to go to jail. You're going to do that.
And then come
But then
slightly.
as soon as you go to recess, the crowd comes to you and says, okay, you know?
Yeah.
I even saw one guy, and they really brought in a paper, it was in court, and he didn't want to do that until it was too loud.
Mm-hmm.
He said, sign a paper. And he brought him back to the paper. And he said, okay, I see, you're the one. The general public to know. The one you took it.
Of course.
I think it's more,
I hear you.
I think it's thinking more on a grander scale. Let's say 1/3 of the population is an active one. Right? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, she's correct. I see what you're saying because they try to calm it. They try to calm it that way, so then it's slower.
Because if
Right,
somebody in court
Can't
sees
stop
that
it, right?
Right, but
you're
you
being
can't.
charged, they're going to say, they're going to come to you and say, how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
They want
Right,
to know.
Right. You want to know
So
more.
they calm it in that way. But what I'm saying is we're gonna get to a point where we take this over.
Well, they can't stop it.
They're just gonna have to drop down their arms.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are you gonna do?
It's a divine.
Yeah, it's what we already see
It's
anyway.
just how fast
coming
that we're
from.
going to done because,
Mhm.
but it can't be stopped eventually.
What it is.
You have something else?
True.
Yeah, it's just the real world, right?
Yeah.
So as you get into your real self, and you enter back into the real world.
Right.
So as a person who's running a fake game,
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine they're not gonna want to mess with
The real,
person. The whole world is real.
yeah.
People deal with real stuff out in Palestine, the real stuff out in China, the real stuff in Russia.
Yeah.
They don't deal with fake stuff.
Right.
So when you say, yeah, I'm part of the real stuff.
Yeah. Then
I
what?
mean,
Right.
it's up to them.
They have a
They
choice.
really want
They have a
to take on the whole world.
Yeah. It's like you rolling with it or
Right.
that's what's up.
And they'll more than likely take the position of you because
of course, because
you know,
of the power world.
the whole world's real. You know what I mean? They have more against them now.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? It's not just Moors against them. You know what I mean? The international community is against them. Been against them.
They've become that minority they try to
That
cast
they
on
tried
us.
to cast on us. But remember, they've always been that
They've
minority.
always been.
Create that fake jurisdiction.
Yeah. Of course.
Majority.
Of course.
Minority.
Yeah, I had a dream, right? Because I understand what the gentleman is saying because I went to the court last week and as I said, last week, 2 weeks ago, and this court not supposed to have any police in there, and they brought police in there because the more they realize now we're coming, right? But I had a dream that we're gonna come, as we were talking about the consciousness, we're gonna come to a place we're not gonna fear.
Right.
I dreamt the police were shooting at me with a gun, but the bullets were not touching me.
Right.
Yeah. So we're gonna come to the place where we're not gonna fear them because they know that we're rising up. They
Right.
know that now without a shadow of a doubt.
And not only that they know,
yeah.
but remember that they've been studying this.
Right.
So them knowing about this isn't something like us, you know, like we just know about this.
Right.
They've been known that we're gonna be coming back or whatever.
Yeah.
They were just doing what they're just like the brother saying, you know, it's you know, it's better to manage a slow leak than a fast leak. Even though it's still leaking, but you know, we'll deal with a slow leak before we deal with, you know, the dam bursting or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And also get whatever they can get out of it in the time being.
Right.
Prolong.
And that's why you'll see big people on like CEOs and whatnot. All of a sudden, oh, you know, I get my citizenship.
Right.
You know, I don't really spend too much time in the U.S. anymore. And,
I agree with you.
I mean, people you know around you, they're still around.
Yeah.
You're not going to see too much
like
change.
target. They're gonna just get up like target
Yeah.
and say, number one,
You're like Target. You're like Target like Target.
Like Shakim was saying, a lot of like we get to a place because there was we were capable of a lot of things even just through consciousness and like just mental the energy to connect higher and do things like say how the X-Men how they try to show you right. So I understand you get to a higher consciousness, the energy is just too strong of a force.
Yes.
And that works within itself.
Right. I just wanted to encourage you with that.
Right.
The bullets won't be able to
Oh, I got
touch
you,
because
for
there's
sure.
gonna be a shield coming to protect them.
Even if they are, it's all right. Yeah.
Me and brother Captain, we got I guess attacked by a parking person. We're traveling in our conveyance, and they had a crossover. And to long story short, guess what? We had to get a fingerprint ticket, right? They didn't give us a real ticket. They just issued something where we had to sign and agree, and we used our rights, of course, and we sent in our signature fee beforehand, put them on notice, and when we went to get our fingerprint ticket, they tried to pressure us to take our beds off. And when I went and they told me sit down, take my picture, said please move your hat. I'm like, it's not a hat. And she's like, well, if you please move what's on your head. I go, I need you to say, because I was recording everything. If you come like that and put the cord out, I put the cord and let the game play, right? So, please take what's on your head off. I'm like, I need you to say that. It's not a hat.
Right.
So I can't take off
Whatever you ask.
Yeah, I can't think of what you're asking.
Yeah.
You're not identifying it.
Identify.
So every time, a sergeant tries to talk to me, just see you this. Oh, excuse me?
Right.
I already said it. I go, said what? I haven't heard you.
Yeah.
He heard me? I go, yeah, but if you're talking to me, what's important for me to acknowledge what you're telling me. You're talking for me to do something or to follow your command, right?
Right.
So I need to hear it. And then they're like, please do. I'm like, you know what? How about this? Put my hands on my back, because I know they're recording everything, right?
Right.
I'm like, hands on my back.
Right.
Here. Take my hat off. Take it off.
Yeah.
My hat. Take my hat off. And I was like, listen. I had my hand like on his shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
a weapon.
right? He's like, listen, come on, buddy. We're working here.
He's already
All of a sudden,
He's already bowing
I
down.
said, listen, for the record, I'm not saying I'm not taking off my fence.
Right.
If you want it off, take it off.
Take it off. Or ask you to take the fence off.
And they're trying to unaddress the coercion, told me, we'll arrest you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm already here.
Yeah. Like, I'm already arrested. Like, what do you want?
And then basically, they're pushing and shoving, just stop. And they said, just go through the fingerprints.
Yeah.
I did all that,
Yeah.
But the joke is, my schedule fee states, if you want any ID, that's 10,000 per month.
Yeah.
I give them all my demands.
Yeah. Just billing them.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
You have a right. You got a right to bill them.
Yeah, it's all good. It's business.
You got a right to bill them. And the majority of the times, those things would back them up. Just because they don't want to deal with, 10,000 a minute or whatever like that.
I know it.
We don't deal with that. Just in case he's real and he knows how to file a mechanics lien or whatever like that. You know what? Let's just let this one go. You know what I mean? Just let him fly. Right? Some active negative intent strategies. 1. Any and all attempts made by some at neutralizing the Prophet Noble Drew Ali by way of suppressing the exposure of his pleas, messages, oral statements, and literature in general, as these were all drafted to all loyal, faithful Moors, are made universally to the people at large. 2. The artificially injected divisions and schisms among Moorish Americans that became apparent during the sellout period and that are still presently existing among some Moorish holy temples of science, Moorish science temples of America, etc., and within other areas of the Moorish divine and national movements and within some branch institutions. 3. The false claim that Moors should not vote in the national elections qualified under the Constitution, being the sanctioned republican form of government, and of course in the Moors' proper person status. 4. The false claim that Moors are not to be active in civics, the science of government. 5. The false claims made by some that Moors are not to study or act upon the national constitution for the governance of the United States Republic North America, and denying the Constitution as being a document that was adopted from ancient Moorish law and prepared for all free national beings. 6. The false claim made by some that Moors are not part and parcel of this said government, i.e. the principled contract of governance of the organic United States Republic of North America. 7. The present lack of refined civic instruction within some of the temples, and a lack of teachings about the social and political effects concerning the legal status, truths about the theft and suppression of the Moorish nationality and birthright issues. 8. The lack of recorded documents and the unlawful accountability to the Moorish Americans concerning the collection of and accountability to the people for the proper dispensation and spending of the people's collected finances, dues. 9. The lack of Moorish schools, and thus the purposefully limited studies, critical analysis, and vital truths about the legal and lawful implications concerning the alterations of the words originally contained in a legal will, contract, or document, or the act of deleting or altering words in or from any established constitution or lawful or legal document. Special notice should be taken that the divine constitution and bylaws document of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. It was altered by someone within the movement during the time when Noble Drew Ali was in the midst of institutional subversive pressures and having to deal with foul violations made against the Prophet that we reviewed earlier. These issues are not discussed among the Moorish American citizens and temple membership. This intentional confusion came from persons operating within the Moorish movement as well. Questionable alterations. So these are things that you'll hear talked about, and the the idea is for Moors to take what Noble Drew Ali brought and put everything under a microscope, because whatever it is that Noble Drew Ali brought is for our earthly salvation. Anything that Noble Drew Ali brought is for us to find our way back to the ancient foremother and forefathers mindset. Because the only way that we're going to be in power again is if we have the mind of the people who set this up originally, right? When the Moors start taking their birthright as theirs, not somebody giving it to you. It's not, a handout. It's giving people information for them to be inspired to go check this out for yourself and just see how real it is. You know what I mean? There's Moors in here that came in from not knowing anything about this, and they're backing down judges and stuff right now. They're backing down whoever challenges them with regard to their birthright, not because Cujo and Canaanland said or they seen something or whatever like that, but they study. And once you study, then you know. And once you know, you should be exercising what you know. If you're not exercising what you know, then that would be classified as you're being passive. Which nothing's wrong with that. I mean, you could be a Moor and chill and not do nothing with it. But you're still connected to the activity even if you're not active. There's still so much going on with us that us not being active is really not what this is about. This is really about us really taking our place. Just like with Brother Heru setting up the land and transport department. That he's gone to these people called Canadian government or whatever, and they're like, "You guys want your own plates or whatever? Sure, like you guys just do whatever, because we recognize that you're a totally different jurisdiction than us. We recognize that you're a different jurisdiction than us. And we recognize that we don't have any authority to tell you what you're going to do in your jurisdiction. So here's, priority, whatever stuff. Whenever you call me questions or whatever, come on down, come to the front of the line. We don't want to line up with these people. Why? Because our status is different. And we're not going to them because they have some authority or whatever like that. We're going to them because we know that they're the ones that set up this fraud that's going out here. So they're the only ones who's going to know the loopholes. They set it up. They know what the fraud is. We know what de jure is. So once we know what de jure is, then fraud stands out like lighthouse. You can't escape the fraud. You can't not recognize that something's fraud once you know what fraud is not. And it's like one of the people asked a question with regard to um, um, labor, um, exchanging labor for wages, and them taking taxes out of checks and stuff, taking taxes out of check or whatever. Grand Sheet Nature, LB, put it simply like this: if you want them to stop taking taxes out of your check, stop working for them.
Wow.
If you want them to stop taking taxes out of your check, stop working for them. Simple as that. That's the easy answer. Right? If you don't want to work for yourself and you think that you got to go to them, well, either they're going to take their little taxes out or whatever, or you're going to go battle with them to make sure that they don't take it out. And ultimately, they're going to let you go if your stuff is this big. And our stuff is this big. When you start going to them talking about, yeah, more or whatever like that, you guys need to stop taking taxes on my check. That's this big to them. Because now it means that they have to pay those taxes that you're not paying. And if I was them, I'd fire you before I take some taxes off your check or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Who I guarantee that, if you've been, you found about the information or whatever, and you're getting, 40,000 whatever a year or whatever like that, and you start talking about some certain stuff, and you know what you're talking about, they let you go. They just saved 10,000 because the guy who's coming in to replace you, he's not getting what you're getting. He's getting way below that. Just because we're going to them. And once you go to them, they got the authority now. Or you shouldn't be going to them. And again, Moors been had manufacturing companies, this and that companies, had all the stuff already that we're supposed to be working for ourselves. And all that stuff got hijacked by our own. Selling stuff to Jews, selling stuff to Irish, selling stuff to whatever after Noble Drawley passed. Sold stuff. Like literally. Gave up stuff. And then people took it, turned it into whatever it is that they want. And, now that's lost. Right? This is why Drawley told them all. In the meantime, the Moors come with eyes wide open and they're going to carry this thing out. Because it is something that could be carried out. But it's going to take strong men and women to do that. It's not going to take no, slaves and coming off the plantation, you know what I mean? And yeah, those ones. No. We need the black inventors. The people who they never touch, that they never talk about. They never talk about lynching a black inventor. They never talk about doing anything that they did to the black inventors to what they did to everybody else who was during that same time in slavery. How come? Because those were free people. They have no jurisdiction over them to put them on no tree or nothing. But remember, Christian black codes, Negro Acts, all that stuff says they can't be studying and stuff like that. They can't be knowing themselves. They can't be, building and going to school and like you can't do that stuff as Negro. How they figure out all this stuff that they're building or whatever? Went back to the ancient mind state of their foremothers and forefathers. Tap stuff in themselves and now they're making whatever. But then the trick is that they're going to the European office to go patent it. Which is, pretty much giving them the credibility. So it's not really, there's no real need to lynch them, really, because they kind of gave up something. They got what they wanted, because they still look like the authority because we went to their office to patent. Just like we have our own, quote unquote, Ministry of Transportation. You don't need to go to them no more. You go to our own. If we're Aboriginal and Indigenous, we don't need to go to them to go get ID cards. We go to our own to go get ID cards. You don't need to go to them for a license. We have right to travel cards. We have our own stuff. And it's getting into that mentality of, well, yeah, so Noble Jolly gave us our own stuff. Well, we need to go deal with these people. Noble Jolly gave us our own stuff. Why we need to follow this guy? So when we begin to, just like you're saying, when we begin to, not even begin, because it's already on, these people already know that their time's up. Just like we're saying, Europe already, they got bailout packages and all that stuff. Everybody knows that this stuff's falling, right? Wherever they're at, it's falling. Our main issue is, one, recognizing that Juali came and did certain things, which was end game for them. You're not having to work on stuff to see if anything, like, it was already done before Noble Juali passed for him. And it's people who we trusted that sold out. Look at El Hajj. People in his stuff that shot him up. It's Martin's best friend who stepped out the way so the guy could get a clear shot at him on the balcony. They didn't have a shot. The guy moved so the guy could get a clear shot of his brethren. Our own sold us out. And no draw, he said, more the hard-headed, stiff-necked people. We only learn at the point of a sword. The only way we learn is when we're at a point of a sword. Right? How they get Garvey? His own. Talking about he's selling fake stocks in the Black Starliner. Mail fraud. His own. Always. Yahshua, his own. Muhammad, his own. You name him. Buddha, his own. Everybody. And as soon as, like we said, Khalid came out and told these people that they're Moors. You say they honor Khalid Muhammad. Oh yeah, we honor him and whatever, his birthday, celebrate and stuff like that. Okay, well, he said that he's a Moor. Nobody's paying attention to that part? You guys forgot that part. Everybody love, hip hop and all this stuff. All these Moors all over the place coming out saying that they're Moors. People got Circle 7 pendants, all this stuff, and everybody just, okay. He has a necklace, so alright. If you want to stay dumb, that's on them. That's their position. If they want to play dumb role, then they're going to be cast out with these dead carcasses. Because guarantee you, all these individuals who took the position of robbing people of their birthright and all that stuff, charging people for stuff and all that, their time is coming down to an end quick, fast. That's why they're going so hard right now. They're going so hard right now because they're losing all that comfort that they were gotten 1600 for papers. Like, we got this. All those days are over now. They're not just getting people anymore. Because when we thought it was the time of, Noble Juali said, oh yeah, new Moors are going to come with their eyes wide open, and we thought that was us. That was not. That's the ones coming now. We thought that was us because, we had this lock, about NOI, you know what I mean? And they were down with the temple, and Elijah Muhammad was down with the temple, and Fard Muhammad was down with the temple, and Yusuf, all these people down, and Carlos Crooks and Marcus Garvey went to visit, whatever. And we were like, yeah, you know about this fraud going on, but it wasn't for us. There was newer Moors coming with eyes wider than our eyes when we came into this. And those Moors that are coming in now, they really see what's going on. When a Moor is gonna say, you know, I just knew something was wrong when he told me 1600. You know stuff's going on in the ethers. Because it wouldn't have got that far before. It would have been an after effect. It would have been a Moor saying, I just spent 1600 and I just saw your video that nationality is free. It's not that no more. Now they're picking up on the vibration of these people. The Moor said, I was talking on the phone with him and this vibration was messed up. That made me even, hold on a second. When he's talking about Nanya. He said the vibration made him say, you know what, hold on a second. Something's not right with this conversation I'm having with this individual. You know? What other question was how to live within contracts. You're going to go to moorishguidepost.org and you're going to send an email to get that book from Grand Chief Nature El Bay that he put out called How to Live Within Contracts. You could also go to rvbaypublications.com or rather Google search rvbaypublications.com How to Live Within Contracts. The page with the PDF on it should come up and then you just do your thing. You know what I mean? Live within contract because remember we're under occupation, so this is not no cakewalk. These people are not just gonna give up their stuff just because they feel like it. You know what I mean? They're not gonna do that. Okay.
The word particular.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're looking for, but I found two. One is called particular, a small piece of land, and the other one is Criterion, and in Roman law, a legatee who was entitled by the directions of the will to receive a share or a portion of the inheritance left to the heir.
Yeah, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. But that's the particulars has to do with
On an atomic level.
yeah, it's like
what your brain waves will be.
Yeah, your brainwave is basically making things manifest. Like really manifest because of all these same thoughts, all these same energies, creating something. I don't think it's in a law dictionary. It might be in the. Anybody have any other questions? And the people online, if you had questions, you could email them, and we'll get to them on next class if need be.
The guy earlier, the the guy that came at you about the Marx Feds.
Yeah.
And then he came at you. He said something challenging it, and then after his last statement was to say that he's not trying to disrespect, but he's trying to make sense of it by asking the question and not just believe it.
Yeah.
See,
my thing with social media, if you want to ask a question, that's why there's a thing that says message, and you ask a question. You don't put a question on a thread where 800 people are on there, and then 800 people are watching, and then 800 people could put their little comment, and then on top of that, when you ask your question, I didn't get tagged in it, so I don't know that there's no question there. There's 500 answers that people are given that they weren't asked the question because it wasn't tagged, so anybody could put their little whatever in. When you could just send a message.
True.
And that way you'll get whatever answer it is that you get, opposed to getting all these different perspectives from all these. You got Dirty Moors coming on there telling people stuff, post their website telling them, oh yeah, come down.
Sometimes it's from because I do the same with him too as well. Like sometimes I'll ask it out in public just because the eyes are there. So I know that he's the type to back what he's saying, right? So in order to give the information time, you have to have the question, right? And it's like he's inviting you to kind of crush that.
Yeah.
I didn't really take it as I just look at it from the other standpoint as well, that he's probably surrounded by a different energy than what
Yeah.
we, there's probably a lot of dirty Moors around him
Right.
telling him this is what it is, this is what it is, and then he's like, now like, I don't believe nobody. So even though he's seeing it right there, he's probably coming from that mind frame where he doesn't trust what you're putting out there.
Right.
If you get what I'm saying.
I mean, and if he doesn't want to trust it,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying, like, would he be wrong for asking the question about it?
no, but
I'm
like
just saying
I'm
that-
saying, if there, that's why we tell people, if you have a question, send an email. If we talk about asking no question on no thread with 500 people
Right,
that
right,
could make
that's
a comment,
That's
because you're not gonna get no answer.
true.
Because the amount of
confusion.
yeah, you're just gonna get more confusion, more confused than you are right now. Because if the question is for me,
Mm-hmm.
why you put it on a thread?
I get it.
Why you take my number, call me, we've been on the phone for hours, and I'll break the shit down to you so you don't get confused.
But to me, what if the purpose is, there's a lot of people, if you have the question, a lot of people have the same question.
Granted,
Purpose
but
is
again, even if I answer it, guarantee you that the question, the answer is gonna be
Right.
shrouded by
By
1,500 other people saying something.
True.
Which takes away the purpose of even asking the question in the first place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas certain things they could just go look up.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even doing that.
Yeah.
They ask everything. You ask everything. Why don't you just go look the stuff up?
It's true.
But then you don't do that because half of them. Well, law dictionary is $80, and I don't want to spend that or whatever. But they got J's for 300 on. They're not gonna go buy a law dictionary.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's a couple more questions on the
Yeah.
What's the like more like is that defined under like what's more?
You're a more.
And from a definition perspective, a Moor is any dark-skinned person.
Oh, okay. So all the while you were talking about more being
Yeah.
No.
Not a negative. There's some of us that are negative.
Yeah.
That's why we call those ones dirty. Yeah. Right. And then one more thing to just put on the record. Somebody on the website talking about Cujo said to make your own nationality card or something like that. Don't make your own nationality card. Don't make your own nationality card. Don't say, hey, I can't get a nationality card, so I'm just gonna go make my own card and then I'm gonna use that and then be a Moor. Don't do that. Right? Don't do that. Okay? Just put it out there. Don't do that. There's already Moors that's doing that, that's been doing that already have so-called cards established that you can use. Don't listen to, well, those guys' cards don't work and these guys' cards work. Whichever one works, use it if you see fit. We stick with who we study from, to who we're going to get cards from, who we're going to get books from, who we're going to get DVDs from, who we're going to get flags from, because that's our lane. But we don't go making up our own stuff and, you know what I mean, because we're sovereign, so we're going to make up our own stuff. We don't do those ones, right? I'm glad I caught that one because when people pull those ones, that's the same thing I'm talking about the thread. You know what I mean?
True.
They're gonna making comments on the chat thing. I'm not watching the chat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're in class or whatever.
Yeah.
Something slips past, nobody addresses it or whatever, and then now everybody's on this perspective that that guy said Cujo said whatever.
Right. Run with it.
Don't run with it. Don't run with it. Please. Check Cujo. Check Cujo. Yeah, so we're gonna. All right.
Basically bring up the speed, bring us up to date with a couple of things. Been getting a lot of questions, but I have to make a couple of announcements as well. By the way, I'm Amari L. Big. Can you see me? Yeah, you can see me. All right, couple of things. As Cujo's been mentioning, nationality is free.
Wow.
Okay? Nationality is free. You're it already. You're nationals already. What the Moorish Science Temple of America is here for is the main thing is to disseminate the information, to teach the information, to get the information out there, to direct you to information. Cujo directed you to information already. First place we use usually is RV-based publications, but there's other places. Once you start to get the knowledge how to look for that information, trust me, there's a lot of information out there. But nationality is free. But there's knowledge that has to go with it as well too. To your point, you walk to some place and you say, I'm a Moor. They're just gonna look at you stone face. It's like, well, what is that? To the sister, when she asks, like, are we Moors? You gotta find out who really are Moors. As Cujo mentioned, all melanated people. You have your true, and you have your false. But we're all Moors. Now, in regards to, sister, your question with the forms, not application forms. What they are is nationalization name correction forms. The purpose of these forms is for you to study. We've been using application forms out there on a daily basis. We sign up to so many things. We sign them, we don't even know what we're signing on to. What these forms do is they get you to start studying. A couple of words on here that's already got a, back and forth with a couple of sisters and myself is the words like territory, county, and republican state or republic state. What are those? Where is the republic state? What is a county? What is a territory? Those are the questions that you're going to have to bring to yourself once you start studying. And you will understand as you go what they are, then you will know where you are once you know what they are. Okay, so these forms we give out for you to hand back into the temple, and they're only for temple purposes. Thank you. I do not give them. We do not give them to anybody out there. We don't sell the information. Cannot be sold because then we're going to be taking in fiat. Can't be selling this information. So that's that. Now, what I do is what I've done actually is what the temple have done as well is we've come up with a package, a form where it's going to have a form in it, an envelope with a form in it. It's also going to have some other information that for you to go and start studying. It's going to have our Divine Constitution of Moorish America. It's going to have law enforcement's oath of honor in it. It's going to have some case studies on correcting your name. Now, this information is very pertinent because a lot of times people will say to you that you have to go to court to correct your name. As a national, you do not have
I
to.
just want to interrupt too. Also, the purpose of having that form is that so if there is any trouble, the temple has that information. You can back up that.
Yes.
That's, I think, the main purpose of that.
Okay. So as nationals, you have a consulate to come to.
That's what the purpose
So-
of that is.
So
That's what we're talking about sealing the documents and
sealing the documents and stuff.
certain things that you need done. We as your employees have to do these things to account, we're the ones with the status of president, prime minister, governor general, secretary, whatever. So we should be dealing with those people who have those titles on your behalf. And sir, an example of that is if somebody get held up by the policy folks,
Yes.
they got you and then you're claiming to be a Moor,
Yes.
they call the consulate and we then
We verify.
that and we have that. So that is what that is for.
So once I receive the form, I will be sending you or giving to you a verification from our end of such that we've received it, that we have the information that yes, you are a national, which you already are, but it's just verification from a de jure standpoint. Okay, and as I said, there's other information in the package as well for you to go over. Also in here is a nationality card. Okay, this is a nationality card that could be laminated. There's other nationality cards we'll speak on that all the time, but this nationality card is in regards to from when Noble Drawley first started giving them out. There's no change, it's the same information on it from way back then. All right, that's that. Also, I want to speak on dues and donations and fundraising. For us to keep the temple consulate moving, we need to do fundraising. Part of the fundraisings that we do is with the books and with the DVDs. And we also hold events and sessions and lectures and whatnot. Those are to keep the temple going. Also with dues. We have set the dues at 25 notes on a monthly basis. And on the 25th of the month, I will be not necessarily expecting it at that time, but that's when I'm going to start asking for it. The dues are there for the temple membership to show allegiance to the temple and to the consulate. It's more or less showing that you are part and parcel of this particular Moorish government. It's to show that you are in league with what we are doing, moving forward. It also shows that you are serious about your nationality. You're serious about being a Moor. You're serious about our nation moving forward. These things, as I said, as we go, we will study more on it. But in the meantime, from that standpoint, we need to show, like everyone has to show that, yes, okay, we're serious about doing what we're doing. Like I'm serious about doing what I'm doing. So it's good that everybody shows it as well too. What else? That's basically it. I don't know if everyone has my email addresses yet, but if you don't, please get it from me. Email me whatever information you're going to need. If I don't have the answer, I will definitely get you someone that has the answer to that information and get it out to you. All right. Any other questions? Or it's not have not been sent as yet. You mean the hard copies has not been sent yet. She hasn't. I don't think she's received. Well, she's received it, but she hasn't processed it as yet. Okay.
How long does it usually take?
It depends. Depends on how many we send, and depends on their backlog and what they have. But
They got backlog.
They got backlog.
So you be waiting.
They got backlog. But the best, I mean, to start, get this one first. You definitely get it anyway, so it's defend yourself with this.
It's just an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
What you that one that you have there? What is that? What do you use that?
Sorry?
What do you use that one? Like that card that you showing.
Okay. As I mentioned, nationality is free, but there's knowledge that goes with it. Okay. So it's not a matter of how do you use it. It's more a matter of who are you. Okay? You can't just, as I said, it's just a card. Credit card. Just a card. Right? It's you.
Yeah. It's behind it.
Everything is you. This is, I mean, yes, okay, you could show it to anyone if they recognize it already. If they've seen a whole bunch of people coming through there with it, it's like, okay, go ahead, go for it. But if you're the first one to show up someplace and here, sorry, and they're gonna just look at you, it's like, what's that? You cannot just be standing there like, you gotta explain behind this. That's why I said everything is just a card. It's you. Until we get to the point where I walk somewhere and they just see it and like they see me a lot of times, places that I've been, it's like, okay, all right, like taxes, whatever. But once that starts happening, okay, great. But right now, it's you that has to push that information forward. You know what I'm saying? All right.
How would they know the more?
Okay, so they know you.
Alright, we'll just close out. Well, I want to say Islam to all the Moors online. If you didn't get your questions, don't worry, we got more classes coming. Deal with them. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, His holy prophet, noble Dwali. Islam.
Also, sorry, we have the attendance book here. Please fill it out before you leave. If you haven't already.
When have you ever heard of a country that was created by